All right, you guys, I'm going to hit record, and as you guys jump on, I'm so excited to have you guys. So Dolores, I'll put you real quick on mute, and we're going to jump right in. I'm going to try to make this call. God, last week went like almost an hour, and I know it didn't upload. I had a disconnection from my computer as the video was converting to my computer, and so I couldn't, it lost the whole thing. So super sad, as there was not a dry eye in the house last week, and it was a really long Skype, but it was phenomenal. So I'm actually going to talk a little bit about what we talked about, because it was so impactful and everybody was just like, ah! But happy Tuesday, you guys. I will be in New Orleans with our team this week, working out to Shanti, Shift Shop Live, like literally. Make sure you check out our social media, and Shift Shop comes out tomorrow. So for all of you guys that have Beachbody On Demand, you instantly will have it. And so I do know this. Let's say this though, okay? Let's probably give it a little grace, because I know sometimes when a new program comes out, like there can be like a huge crash sometimes too, because everybody's jumping on at once. I've seen it before. So for some reason, if you're going to get on first thing in the morning, they usually go off of Pacific time zone. So sometimes the programs will be released at like noon Pacific time zone, so maybe earlier. Any information we find out we'll give to you. But here's the cool part, is when it shows up on your Beachbody On Demand, just like all the other programs, you can go directly into the workout calendar, directly into the meal plans, go directly into tips and tools. I shared today in the group, I don't have them here on my desk, my markers and what I wrote on them. And I encourage every single one of you guys to do the same thing, as it is so incredibly powerful. And I remember the moment, I know exactly where I was, what workout it was, and Chris was like, get angry and hit that thing. And I was like, yeah, and I hit it, and I was like, oh, that felt so good. So picture if you had a saying on it that was just, you know, I am strong and beautiful, and you know, my mess only makes me stronger, whatever it might be that your actual saying is. So as you guys either have your markers or you create them, write on them and share in the group. I want to be inspired by what you guys are going to be hitting. So every person can do this program. Every single person alive. So, hey, Miss Marisol, good to see you, girlfriend. So for those of you that may not have seen, or you're not a part of our test group for the Shift Shop, we're still going to be sharing a lot of information here in this group. And I'll get to the Bible study in a minute, but I know these are so many questions. There is a girl on our team. She is, I don't want to say the number wrong, and I hate to say a number, but she's like 350 pounds, and she's rocking it. And she's lost a ton of weight. So every person alive can do this program. As long as you're moving, that's all that matters. And there's a major modifier. So I want to dive right in. And then once we finish our study this morning, I want you guys to ask any questions that you might have, Shift Shop, meal plan, any of that stuff. And I'll give you guys some tips and tools and that type of thing. And of course, we'll share a ton while we're at Beachbody Summit in New Orleans. So excited. So I'm going to dive into today's study, which is July 11th. Oh gosh, did y'all read it? Like, does this, not every person alive needs to read July 11th, because we all live in fear. And even yesterday, driving down the street with my daughter, she started telling me how scared she is to start middle school, and she's really nervous and just like, oh my gosh, Mom, I'm getting like school's less than a month away here. That's crazy, I know, right? But I told her, I was like, no. Fear is not of God. I want you to instantly hand that over to God. Fear is not what I want you to walk with. And she was like, okay. And I was like, yeah. I was like, so let's pray about you not being fearful, but more excited. And, you know, maybe you're nervous, and we'll pray about that, but let's pray about that. So funny thing is, today is all about fear. So I'm going to jump right into it. So it says master it. And I might like totally botch some of the way they say the names. So sorry on that. So it says David was much afraid of Achish, king of Gath. And he challenged his behavior before them and pretended to be insane in their hands, and scribbled on the gate door and drooled on his beard. 1 Samuel 21:12-13. So here's where I just took some major takeaways. I'm like kind of looking, I'm like, what does that mean? It says fear torments and prevents progress and can develop from seemingly endless sources. It causes people who should be bold and aggressive to shrink back, to hide and be cowardly and timid. Fear is a thief. I want you guys to underline that. So I literally was taking a highlighter to this today and I was like, fear is a thief. Like I'm not okay with being stole from, right? And it says it steals our destinies. What we run from or hide from has power over us. The only acceptable attitude we should have towards fear is I will not fear. And I underline that. I will not fear. Each of us must be firm in our resolve that we will not allow fear to rule in our lives. There is far too much at stake to take a light attitude towards this huge problem. Let's see, and extremely difficult for many people, but it must be done unless we want other people and other things to control our lives. It's so true. We let so many things control our lives, and I feel like fear is like in the top 5, if not top 2, right? The best way to overcome anything is to expose it to the Lord. Anything hidden has power over us, but only it is brought into light, it can be dealt with and overcome. Always remember what Franklin Roosevelt once pointed out: the one thing we must fear is fear itself, for it will overcome us. If we confront it, we must master it. Say it out loud: I will not fear. And it says, Lord, I hate what fear does to me. I am sick of how it steals from my potential and permits me into shrinking back. I will not allow it to control me any longer. Amen. So raise a hands. Did this speak to any of you guys? Right? Like fear it's interesting. It's not a surprise. That is the number one thing that the people that I work with and the people in my life struggle with is fear. And so there could literally be in a whole book on this, right? And just the most amazing thing is saying it out loud and taking ownership. So what if on one of your markers you wrote, I will not fear, right? I mean, how powerful is that to hit that every single day? So as you're doing shift shop, and just be like, no, I'm not going to own that. That's not of me. And I'm going to hand that over to the Lord, and taking ownership of that fear. So I'd love for you guys, I had all of you guys muted. I'd love for any of you guys to unmute your lines and share how this might have spoke to you, or something that you're like, yeah, this is really powerful and I'm going to hand this over, whatever it might be. You guys have anything? Marisol, let me unmute you real quick. I got you, girlfriend. You're unmuted. Can you hear me? You can talk. I don't know if you can. We can't hear you, but are you talking? No? Yeah. No? I can see your eyeballs. I have you unmuted, so if you get it to work, you let me know. So I've got you unmuted. And you can always type. There's a little chat area too at the bottom of the screen, if you can actually type in and share there if you wanted to. So Dolores, Sheila, anything you girls wanted to share at all? I know I just call everybody out on this moment, right? I'm like, hey, so hand over your biggest fear, because you have to, like, it's funny, like putting it out in the world all of a sudden makes it reality. And then you have to take ownership for that instead of keeping that deep in your soul. And then you have to ask God to help you with that fear. We all live in fear of something every single day. I mean, we wouldn't be human if we didn't, right? Like, I'm fearful that I'm just gonna put this out there. I don't fly alone. Like, I don't like flying on airplanes alone. And I'm not fearful. I'm like anxious. I think I'm not fearful, but what if I miss my flight, or, my husband's not there to hold my hand? It's so ridiculous. I hate flying by myself. I've only flown one other time by myself. So I fear that. And, and just being the best leader I can be for you guys is always a fear of mine, and having enough hours in the day to make sure that every single one of you guys apply the tools and grow into these amazing people that I know and see that you already are. I always fear that people aren't going to love themselves and see their full potential, because and none of us are ever done, but having, like, I fear that people and myself, that I'm not going to be challenged, or I'm not going to challenge myself. So that is why I push myself every single day. I show up in the groups every single day. I'm a challenger in the groups just as much as you guys. And yes, it's for you guys, but it's also for me, because I feel fear of cake's going to take me over. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? So anything you guys want to share, feel free to share. And then I can, oh, Dolores, let me unmute you. I'll unmute you real quick. Dolores, go ahead.
Okay, so in my life, there's a lot of fear. Right now, with my husband being sick, I'm very fearful about healthcare. He just had treatment on Thursday, and treatments usually bring on infections, unfortunately. We're getting ready to travel out of the country, so I'm fearful for the fact that he may encounter an infection while we're out of the country. But probably the thing that probably is most fearful in my life is raising my kids. And right now they're both teenagers, and one of them is a new driver. She just turned 16. Well, didn't just turn 16, but she started driving and on her own. And so she has I've given her a lot more freedom to be out and about and doing her own thing, but there's just always that lurking fear.
Baby,
of,
stop.
Are you, if they're making the right choices, if they're safe, and as far as driving, I feel comfortable with her driving. It's the other drivers. So those are mostly, it's my children that I'm fearful of right now.
Yeah, I think that is such a normal thing, right? Like, and I've heard this. I don't know this because I'm not there yet, but you are.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That as they get older, they're like, oh, you have nothing to worry about right now. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
So definitely vocalize it. I think vocalizing it out loud, I think it's so crazy, you guys. If you think about life, we internalize everything. And then one day we have a nervous breakdown and we can't figure out why, because we never said it out loud. Saying it out loud is like taking ownership of it. So I'm so glad you shared. And so what we can do is pray about it, but even have you say it out loud and just say, Lord, help me take this fear away, and help me to have, me guide, my daughter, and give her the best direction that I can, and keep her safe. And as you travel and those type of things with your husband, and the infections to minimal. God does such amazing things, and he is so much more powerful than medicine, our fear, those drivers on the road. He is in control of our destiny and everything that happens. And so really handing over that ownership to him, what peace we could actually have in our heart just a little bit more, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm so proud of you, and we'll definitely say a prayer at the end for you. So thank you so much for sharing, and I'm always thinking about you. So I'm so proud of everything you're doing, even through everything you're going through with cancer with your husband. You're still showing up, still doing the best you can, and that is what matters. So,
and this group has been incredible. It's just so many tips and encouragement and ideas, and you're amazing.
Thank you so much. You guys are like my family. Like, I seriously, there was a hole in my life before I became a Beachbody coach, truly. And I'm going to cry. Don't make me cry. I just don't even know what I would do without it. It's completely changed. And it's funny, people will talk about, the financial freedom and, being able to be your own boss. No, that's not what gets me out of bed each day. The thing that gets me out of bed each day is you guys. That's what gets me out of bed. So I'm just watching you guys succeed and helping you through those struggles. So thank you so much for sharing. Oh my gosh, it's going to be an emotional day. Miss Sheila, I want to have you. Let me unmute you real quick. Make it easy for everybody. All right, Sheila, you go ahead if there's anything you wanted to share.
Okay. For me, I always think that fear begins with just a thought. And then from there, it's like a domino effect. Right now, personally, I've been going through some struggles within the last year, and it's amazing how I've kind of let that take over. And then you get upset and depressed and sad and crying. And So for me personally, I know that the exercise has helped me tremendously as well as this group. I mean, every day I get up and I've been trying to work out just to get all that stuff off of me, and release the stress and the fear. And it's been a humongous lifesaver. I mean, I can't even tell you how much it's helped me.
My husband the other day, I had a late workout and he was like, go work out. He's like, you need to go. And it was so funny. I came back skipping and I was like, I didn't want to do it. I was like, oh, I don't want to work out. That just sounds awful. I'd rather do laundry, right? And I did it, and I came back, and he was like, oh, thank God I have my wife back, because that was like, so it sounds crazy. I want you guys to know that we all have that same struggle as well. And Sheila, I seriously mean this from the bottom of my heart. I have watched you grow over this last 6 months, and it's just been amazing to watch you in the group. So we've got Sheila and Marisol are in the same group, and then Dolores, you're in one of the new groups. And it's just amazing to watch. Sheila was kind of like behind the scenes, just kind of watching everybody. And then all of a sudden she is like in the thick of, hey guys, and she's posting the most amazing things and just holding herself accountable. And I really, really, truly, when I say that, you guys think, yeah, whatever. But like, I post these recipes and I post my goals in the group with you guys daily so that I do them. I post my groceries, I post my food so that way that's all I'll eat. Sometimes I slip, but it's like I'm a challenger even almost 5 years later, just like you guys. If I didn't show up and I didn't share my goals and say them out loud like our fear we're supposed to, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. So make sure and lean on the group if any of you guys are struggling. As I've watched Sheila, I don't want to say you were struggling, but I definitely think that you were searching. And then now it's like, you're just like on fire.
Oh, thank
you.
you.
And the same thing with Marisol. I've watched her in our group, go from some struggles to literally taking ownership of her workout and just doing it with her kids and then showing up and sharing her sweaty selfies. And so inspiring to see all of you girls, no matter what level you're on, you're all growing forward. And that's what's amazing. So you guys are such a blessing. I have been on last week's call. I talked, and I'm going to go real briefly about the 5-second rule. I am actually re-listening to it, and it is amazing. So, funny story. I read a book, and if you guys ever want to read it, it's amazing. Probably one of the best books I've ever listened to. It's called The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy. And I listened to that book and I learned so much from that book that I need to listen to it again. But he shared on this book that we become these people that are a collector of information. We become a collector of information. And that's why I think going through challenge groups for 30 days, you're kind of just learning. You're really just learning. You're implementing, but you're messing up a lot and you're still getting results. Then all of a sudden you start doing it more and more and you get better. And you get better because you start implementing the tools that you're getting. So Darren Hardy, if you guys have not read any of his books, The Compound Effect, oh my gosh, this entrepreneur roller coaster, he talked about on this book that I was listening to that you really need to listen or read a book more than once. Because what we do is we listen to it or we read it, but we don't actually implement it. We go, oh, that's a good idea. That's really, really great. But then we never actually put it into action. So the funny thing is listening to the 5-second rule now for the second time for me, and I'm doing it because you guys are as well, listening to it, and she said something last week that just hit home for me. And so I shared it on the live Bible study, and I was like, this is crazy. So she talks about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, right? And talks about the science behind it and why we need to do that. But the one thing, and it sounds great, so many of you guys will read it, and you're like, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. But then you think about it. So one of the things she said last week is she goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, physically get up and move. That instant, it was so funny. I got that the first time, but I didn't get that. So I was like, oh, so it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, physically get yourself up and do whatever it is that you're 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay? Because you will think yourself out of doing it. So we go, okay, I need to do that. That's a great 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to do. Shut up, get up, and physically go and do it, right? And it was like, oh my gosh, I could sit there and hem and haw of all the things I want to do, but I need to physically move my body to make that happen because then you're going to not second guess those things and go, well, maybe I should do this, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or I don't know what people are going to think, and so I'm not going to, but that's a good idea. Physically just go and do it. So I wanted to share that with you guys as me now going through the second time reading it. I'm like, okay, now I'm going to physically 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So any of you guys want to share anything that you're getting from it, feel free to share. I'd love to hear. I feel like every person alive needs to read this book, as we all are somewhat procrastinators from our dreams, our goals, our vision, our life, laundry, dishes, whatever it might be. We procrastinate everything, and then it becomes this fear comes over our lives, right? So, and you guys want to share anything about the book if you're reading it? No? That's okay. That's okay. So I wanted to share that you guys need to physically move yourself. So if you are not reading the book, make sure you get it. And the other thing is, I know I share Audible a lot, and I do a lot of Audible because I'm so busy and I don't want to make excuses about feeding the brain. So real quick, I want to share with you, I'm in the test group for Shift Shop, and it was so amazing yesterday. Chris Downing, the creator of Shift Shop, did a video, and he said, and he literally for 60 days, he has not gone live, not one day. Every single day, he has gone live and done something for us. And he shared in the group that it was like, and you guys have heard me say this, and all of us say this a lot, but it all starts in the mind. That shift that you're going to have in your mind through this program and through life is what you need to focus on. Your physical results will come. And it's interesting, as I started this journey, this, learning how to eat healthy and learning how to, and all these things, I wanted physical results, but I really needed this. And I knew that's actually why I became a coach. It wasn't big. I didn't have 20, 30 pounds to lose. Sure, I wanted to have a different body, and I was unhappy with the skin that I lived in, but realistically, I hated me up here, and I hated me here. So as I went through this journey and I started doing this personal development and growing with you guys, and Beachbody gave me the tools, I literally, listening to Chris talk about this, you guys, it's so true. So if you're struggling with something right now, I want you to ask yourself where your mind is. Are you handing the fear over? Are you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1ing and all those things? Because you can honestly press play all you want, but you're still at the end of the day not going to like who you are if you're not feeding this, okay? And it sounds so, I've helped people before and they're like, I don't need help. I don't need personal development. Well, we all need something. We all have to. If we think that way, we're just not going to grow, which means we're stagnant. And we're no longer a value to ourselves or to anybody around us if we're not growing every single day, right? I love that statement. So, all right, you guys, I love you guys. We have been, what are we on? Almost 30 minutes in. So I'm going to end in prayer, but I also would love for any of you guys who want to share. Hey, Miss Jennifer, good to see you, girl. Any of you want to share anything or say anything, feel free to. I'm going to... Let's see, Dolores, for sure put you in the prayer real quick. Anybody else want me to add a prayer as I end it all? I'm here for you guys. So, all right. Okay, so we'll end in prayer, and I pray that this video uploads this time, and it should be fine. So, okay. All right, and then we will go back to live Bible studies next Wednesday. So, oh, and real quick, the July 24th group, all of you guys get to be a part of my groups. You can continue with me, absolutely 100%. When I get back from Beachbody Summit, I will be starting immediately Shift Shop Day 1. The group starts on the 24th, but here's the deal, you guys. Start right away if you want. Don't feel like you need to wait for Shift Shop to start, our group to start on the 24th, because we're just going to keep going. We're not done. We're not done. We're making this a lifestyle forever. So, all right, so we'll end in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you so much for all of these amazing women and men all over the country that we get to gather with, Lord, and just honor you in every aspect of our life. Dear Lord, I pray that everybody really dives into today's scripture that you've provided us, really handing the fear over to you, Lord, and saying our fear out loud, taking ownership of what it is and praying and putting your words on it that you will take that fear away. Dear Lord, please protect over all of the coaches on our team that are traveling to Beachbody Summit this week, and help them to just be safe and have an amazing time and just, oh my gosh, have a blast. Dear Lord, please protect over Dolores this week as she's had stated the fear of having an older daughter and driving, and just help her, Lord, to say these fears out loud to you and hand it over to you and give her peace within those moments. Also, dear Lord, as her husband goes through cancer and goes through different treatments and gets the possibility of infections, Lord, would you please hand over that fear and have them with their mouths just surrender to you, Lord, that moment, because all things with you, Lord, are possible. All things can be taken away and healed. Lord, with you by our sides, everything is possible. I thank every single one of these women and men that are listening to this call and here for being a part of my life and putting themselves first, because there's nothing more beautiful. Thank you, Lord, in your precious name. Amen. All right, you guys. Oh, I just love you to death, and go out and make this a great week. So I've got many of my coaches on my team that will be helping with the challenge groups while we are in Louisiana. So there are, I've heard, over 20,000 of us there. And so sometimes getting on is super difficult, but I'm going to go live as much as possible. And we are super pumped to share all the great things. And I know that there's new products coming out. So make sure and watch us, and make sure and hand your fears over this week, you guys. You can do all things through Christ. So love you guys. Have an amazing, amazing rest of the week. Bye.